When returning antique objects located inside the attic again to their original form and splendor, Rick Dale and his team had been the guys for the job. So top have been they that it began the sensational truth TV show, The American Restoration. The show changed into a big fulfillment for some time, and it had every person rummaging via their attics for his or her subsequent treasure. However, as top and engaging as he became, in 2016 the whole lot went south when the show became cancelled. Nobody saw it coming, and plenty of nonetheless consider what occurred and why the show were given cancelled. Many nonetheless do not know this, however, all of it started from a tragic coincidence. In today's video, we're going to examine the activities that led to the tragic twist of fate, and why the final straw forever shut down the American Restoration. But how can we speak approximately the American Restoration without speaking about the person who built it, Rick Dale? Rick Dale, in contrast to many, had a watch for antiques, ever seeing that he changed into a child. And growing up, he was surrounded via many who he loved to restore. He have been concerned in restoration lengthy before TV became widely used. Originally from Newport Beach, California, Rick became born at the 13th of December 1970 in a home that recommended him to innovate and remedy problems. Rick's father, an Army veteran, had a strong impact in developing this interest due to continuously suggesting that Rick and his brother Ron need to restoration things, rather of buying new elements. Rick changed into clearly inquisitive proper from formative years, often disassembling various items at home and solving them later. He had a unique passion for beyond objects as he became enchanted by means of the aesthetics of their layout and operation. In teenhood, Rick was eager on information and began with small restoration jobs that involved motorcycles, old gear, and different gadgets. Rick's professional journey into healing began as a unique entranced into unraveling Rick's experiences, from his own past traumatic events to his booming career in entrepreneurship. This fascinated Rick. After excessive school, he pursued diverse abnormal jobs, but in no way strayed a long way from his passion for restoring gadgets. His first essential undertaking turned into restoring a vintage Coke system for his father. The success of this enterprise brought about requests from friends and buddies for comparable work, sparking the concept of turning his hobby into an enterprise. In the late 80s, Rick decided to jump and establish Rick's Restorations in Las Vegas, Nevada. Initially, the business operated on a small scale, focusing on antique home equipment and memorabilia. Over time, Rick built a recognition for his meticulous interest to detail and capability to convey antique, worn-out gadgets back to lifestyles. His paintings received popularity in collector circles, and his purchaser base grew gradually. Before Rick Dale changed into, located by, and became famous on the History Channel, which brought about his display, American Restoration, his enterprise, Rick's Restorations, changed into a quiet but thriving operation in Las Vegas, Nevada. It wasn't flashy or well-known out-of-doors collector circles, but it built a strong recognition for excessive, excellent paintings and attention to element. Rick specialized in restoring vintage Americana, in particular gadgets that evoked a robust feel of nostalgia. His tasks blanketed Coca-Cola machines, jukeboxes, fuel pumps, neon signs, and symptoms. And antique memorabilia. These were not just surface-level fixes. Rick made sure every piece labored as if it had been today's, at the same time as staying actual to its original layout and era. The save itself turned into a realistic, no-nonsense workspace. We have a new It had separate regions for each a part of the recuperation procedure: disassembly, restore, portray, and reassembly. Shelves had been lined with old elements, tools, and half of completed initiatives, showing how an awful lot paintings went into each item. It wasn't a showroom or traveler's spot returned then, simply a place where matters were given accomplished satisfaction. Most of Rick's clients have been personal collectors, small commercial enterprise proprietors, or antique sellers who desired something special. He did not have a national platform yet, but his name turned into widely recognized locally, and among people who cared approximately vintage restorations. Word of mouth saved the tasks coming in due to the fact Rick was dependable, proficient, and deeply obsessed with keeping the records behind every piece. Running a commercial enterprise like this wasn't clean, Many of the gadgets Rick labored on had been in terrible shape when they got here into the store, rusty, broken, and missing components. Finding alternative pieces for decades-old gadgets changed into a huge project. Sometimes, Rick made elements from scratch to get matters proper. It took time, persistence, and a whole lot of skill. However, the consequences always spoke for themselves. When TV manufacturers found Rick, he built a call for himself in the healing world. They saw his passion for his work and the tales at the back of the objects he restored, which caused the introduction of the American Restoration. The show would pass on to carry Rick's craft and his store to a whole new target audience. But before the repute, it changed into just a difficult-running shop run through a guy who cherished giving vintage matters a brand new life. If there's a show that brings things again to life with a number of storytelling that adds lots greater sauce to it, it is American Restoration. The tale of how American Restoration got here to be starts with another famous History Channel show, Pawn Stars. In that Pawn Stars, people delivered all varieties of particular vintage items to a Las Vegas pawn store to sell or pawn. Sometimes those objects have been in pretty awful shape and wish solving before they can be really worth whatever. That's where Rick Dale got here in. He was already running his recuperation enterprise, Rick's Restorations, and had built a reputation as one of the nice in the commercial enterprise. One day, the Pawn Stars team wished a person to repair an old Coca-Cola merchandising device. They known as Rick, and he nailed it. Not handiest, did Rick do an incredible activity on the machine, however. He additionally confirmed a lot passion and understanding, whilst explaining what he'd turned into doing. The History Channel producers cherished how Rick should inform a story about the object's history, even as showing the difficult work it took to make it to appearance state-of-the-art. They noticed capacity for Rick to have his own display, centered entirely on healing. Here's how they pitched it to him. A show that followed Rick and his team as they restored all kinds of vintage items, from jukeboxes to gasoline pumps to neon symptoms. Each episode could display the step-by-step process of turning some thing antique and broken into something lovely and useful. But it would not just be approximately the paintings, it also spotlight the stories in the back of the objects, and why they mattered to the individuals who brought them in. Rick preferred the idea, and shortly the cameras were rolling. The show, American Restoration, premiered in October 2010 and quickly became a hit. Viewers cherished seeing these splendid changes and getting to know approximately the records at the back of the objects. Rick's enthusiasm, professional crew, and the own family dynamic with his spouse Kelly and son Tyler made the display even extra exciting. Every episode ended with a large screen, in which the restored item becomes shown off to the patron, who became almost constantly blown away. That moment of surprise and joy became a massive part of why the show linked with such a lot of human beings. American Restoration ran for 6 seasons with Rick and his team because the stars. The display introduced much interest to Rick's store, and those worldwide began sending their objects to Las Vegas, hoping Rick should paintings his magic. The first 6 seasons of American Restoration took viewers into the sector of Rick Dale and his crew at Rick's Restorations, a Las Vegas shop that specialized in bringing antique objects lower back to life. Combining professional craftsmanship, attractive personalities, and heartfelt storytelling, the series quickly have become a favorite for enthusiasts of nostalgia and recuperation. The first season introduced audiences to Rick's Save and the group in the back of the magic. Rick, each episode showcased the healing of a distinct antique item.